What's up, everybody? Happy Wednesday. Hope you're being safe, staying inside, and practicing all the social distancing that is recommended by your experts. Special episode for one, in the sense that it's our first podcast that we are recording in the safety of our homes. I'm in my home. Rochelle is at her home. And our guest today, Hanna Ann, is also at her home. And a special appearance by one Ranger Rick, Hanna Ann's dad, joins us at the tail end of the podcast, so be sure to check that out.
He is not at home. He's in the middle of the forest.
Well, he still is practicing social distancing, so it's totally fine. He's not. He's at home in, where was it, Knoxville? Are they in Knoxville?
Tennessee. I don't know.
Tennessee. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, thanks for joining, guys. Obviously, I know we mentioned to you that this would be the Penn Jillette episode, but given that we got access to Hanna Ann, there's obviously a lot of interest and excitement around Hanna Ann's story and her love life, whether she's dating nowadays, and we figured the interview with Penn isn't quite as time sensitive. It's always going to be a fascinating and interesting conversation. So we wanted to make sure we got you Hanna Ann ASAP. How's it going for you, social distancing, Rochelle? You bored?
I've been cleaning like a mad woman. I'm like, every crevice is getting cleaned.
Because you're bored or because you're afraid of the coronavirus?
I think it's the one thing I have control over at this moment. So what about you? Yeah, Nick thinks he has coronavirus. Since that news of Colton came out, he's like, I think I have it.
Well, no, like a couple days before that, I've been experiencing some symptoms, specifically in my lungs. It's a little scary. I've talked to my doctor, but thankfully my symptoms are mild. I just have some slight shortness of breath, and I haven't been experiencing a fever, but it's weird, if people are interested in symptoms that people
You did
might
have a fever, or you don't?
I don't have a fever.
Yeah.
I think was it Wednesday or Thursday? I think it was Thursday night. I was sometime in the middle of the week. I had chills, and not chills, but I had the sweats. Yeah. But I don't think I had a fever. Maybe that was it. And then I just felt a little off, and then it was more in my lungs. Mm-hmm. So I just I felt a lot of chest pressure, and then some shortness of breath. Like if I talked too much, it's a little bit better now. But so obviously, I called around to see if it made sense to get tested. But the more people I talk to who are kind of first responders and dealing with this, I talked to my doctor. My symptoms were mild enough. Obviously, I'm not at risk in terms of my age, and I have a healthy immune system. Because tests are limited, I just thought they recommended, and it seemed best that I didn't get tested to save the test for the people who might be in more need. And since I've been social distancing and basically in isolation since late Monday night, that's what I would do anyway. So I'm going to just continue to act like I could have it and I might have it, which that's what people should be doing out there, because a lot of young people might not even notice their symptoms. And this is a very serious thing that we can all do our part to try to improve the situation we find ourselves in. I saw something today about just how much more contagious this virus is relative to the flu. A lot of people are out there saying, oh, well, it's just like the flu, et cetera, et cetera. And there was a stat on the normal flu. If you have it, the average person might give that flu to 1.3 to 1.4 people on average. So that if it passes on 10 times, that initial person would have given it to 14 different people. The coronavirus, on average, that a person would give it 3 times. So if you exponentially put that by 10, it's something like you could, as a single person passing it on, could give it to 59,000 people, which shows the stark difference in terms of how much more contagious this is. So I'm only saying that because I've heard stories about friends who live in different parts of the country. Now it seems like all places have bars and restaurants closed, but when they have been closing them, my one friend, they were telling me that people acted like it was New Year's Eve. It's like, oh, the bars are closing. It's our one last night. I mean, and that's just not socially responsible. We have to not do that. So just want to emphasize enough that people should just be doing their part and protect each other. And the sooner we do that, the sooner we'll get through this.
Yeah. And distract yourself with this interview with Hanna Ann.
Yeah. And there's no Corona talk on going forward.
Yeah, this is it.
But just a fun conversation with Hanna Ann. She was great, and we get an update on her love life and a little bit more about kind of the things that went down with the breakup with Peter, and we get Ranger Rick's point of view as he joins us at the end, and just a fun interview. So I guess without further ado, again, guys, thanks for your patience. I hope that the sound quality is almost the same, and thank you for continuing to listening during these strange times. And then we'll keep pumping out episodes. We do have a couple episodes already previously recorded, so you might next Monday's Ask Nick is something one that we already recorded a little bit ago, and we'll just keep pumping these out and go from there. Without further ado, Hanna Ann. Hanna Ann, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you, Nick?
I'm good. It's nice to meet you virtually.
I know.
First and foremost, are you staying inside and practicing social distancing during these interesting times that we are all in?
Yes, I am. And actually, like the past couple of days since I recently just moved to LA, I've just been unpacking. So it hasn't been that bad, but I feel like today I'm going to start getting like cabin fever.
So you just moved to LA?
Yeah, I just moved to LA right before the lockdown. Like
was it
right before?
Did you move to LA before AFR or after?
Right after AFR. Like I just had a one-way ticket, and right after filming that next day I moved to my apartment.
Where were you? Well, hold on. Let's talk about your
What's your address?
no, yeah. I mean, that must have been a bummer. You're moving in, and all of a sudden, the world stops a little bit.
I know. I'm like moving to LA, ready to start life, and then, not starting, you're kind of stopping. But at least I'm in my apartment, and it's really actually been nice just to like be isolated from people and just like have time just to have a breather, relax.
I gotta say,
take in everything.
Well, it depends. Pros and cons, right? Like on one side, you just finished the season, and if you like attention, it's definitely you'll never get more attention in that moment. On the flip side, if it's overwhelming, and sometimes it's a little bit of both, this is certainly like the easiest way to have people not be all up in your business.
Right. And it just is nice just to like be in quiet, because there's so much like anticipation leading up to like the day where I can finally like peace out on the season. Like so excited for that moment, but also, it took like a lot of energy and like just a lot of emotions built up. And so now that it's over, it's just nice to like just be alone and decompress. And
how are you?
Gather myself.
How are you doing now? Like, what's on a scale of 1 to 10? What's Hanna Ann's mental state in terms of her kind of relationship well-being?
My relationship well-being, I'm like an 11, honestly. I'm doing really well. I think when you've hit like rock bottom, anywhere above that, you feel great. You feel stronger. And like I've had, several different setbacks in life. It doesn't just have to deal with, a breakup, just setbacks that I've had personally or financially or, with my family. So it's part of life, and you just kind of have to roll with the punches and keep on trucking forward.
What kind of setbacks have you had? Because when I look at you, I just think, oh, she's perfect. She's had a perfect life,
Yeah.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
No, I mean, I definitely haven't had a perfect life. I mean, my family, we've had deaths in the family. We have different, we've had a family member that's been ill. So setbacks in regards to that, like my life has not been perfect at all. But it's all about taking it for what it is, especially where life is at. It's not where I thought it would be, but it's what's been handed to me, and you just got to work through it.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to say it. Also, like it's always kind of a weird thing too, where you feel like you have to defend yourself. In your case, where if you say you've been through something, and people will be like, "Oh, you must have a a perfect for whatever that means. And did that make you defensive with some of the criticism from the show in terms of coming across as almost well spoken or other than finasco or whatever? But you seem very measured throughout the show, and did that bother you that people took that as a negative thing sometimes?
Yeah. In regards to the show, yes, it's for entertainment, but I wanted everyone to see all different sides of me. And because I wanted it to be, a love story, I wanted it to be as if I wasn't on a TV show. So everyone was able to see different sides of me, the side that, with the champagne gate, or the side of me being emotional. I wanted to truly treat this as an opportunity for Peter to really get to know me. So in the end, if he did choose me, which he did at that time, he was able to get to know me the best that he possibly could. So he knew what he was getting. So in regards to people thinking I was, measured or perfect, everyone has a right to their own opinion. I tried to always be myself, but try to be just kind of even kill, not get wrapped up into the drama or the emotions of it, not live my life by how I feel, but, add reason to any situation.
That's good. So it's funny because I was thinking about this, and one reason I wanted you on the podcast is because I was the 2-time runner-up. I feel like I have there's like a bond that I have with people who are runner-ups. And I kind of thought to myself, in my mind, I had you as the runner-up, but yet you won. And so do you feel like you're the runner-up? Like, how do you take it in terms of, I don't know, it doesn't really ultimately matter, but like technically there really isn't a runner-up this season. But yet, I feel like when it was all said and done, America had to watch Peter break up with you, and at least for a short period of time, pick Madison.
Right. I think the term winning is kind of taken out of hand at times, because for me, it wasn't about winning. It was, winning Peter's heart and spending forever with him. So if that's winning to people, then no, I guess I was a runner-up to that. But my takeaway is,
it was more like, it's kind of like, yeah, I kind of almost take it like the last person who was broken up with by the lead, which technically that would be you.
Technically, that would be you. You're the one that got done.
But how do you see it?
Sorry, I'm going to interrupt 1 second. Nick, you got to pull that screen thing down. See the black thing in front of the mic? Can you pull it down?
This thing?
Yeah, pull it down. Yes, perfect. There, then we can see your face. That's better. Okay, continue.
Thank you, Rochelle.
In regards to being,
do you see it that way?
No, I don't see it as me being a winner or a runner-up. I see it as me finding myself more and learning more of who I am and what I want. And that's kind of how I see it. I don't put it in a category as runner-up or winner or loser. I gained a lot of personal growth from the experience, and that's what I walk away from. Well, that's what I walk away with.
Loving BetterHelp, people. Some of our friends of show are fun, and they are entertaining or give us good food or healthy habits, but we talk a lot about mental health on this show. We're big advocates and supporters of it, and we know how sometimes challenging and scary that can be to kind of take that leap and find the right person. Well, BetterHelp does such a fantastic job of doing that right out of the convenience of your home. You can literally do it while you're traveling. There's no time or place you can't get BetterHelp with BetterHelp. So if you've ever wondered about getting mental health help, you wanted to talk to a professional, whether you're dealing with really anything. Maybe it's a breakup, maybe it's depression, maybe it's anxiety, maybe just you're just lonely. There's really you don't need to have a certain reason to talk to someone about your mental health. So it's an amazing app, big supporters of it, and again, super easy to get and convenient. If you'll take a quiz, they'll kind of align someone with your needs. If you happen not to like them, you can always switch. It's super great. Can't say enough about it. Best of all, it's a truly affordable option. The Viall File listeners get 10% off your first month with the discount code VIALL. So why not get started today? Go to betterhelp.com/VIALL. Simply fill out a questionnaire to help them assess your needs and get matched with a counselor you'll love. That's betterhelp.com/VIALL. Well, people, I know we are very health conscious right now in the world, and obviously trying to keep ourselves and our families healthy. Always a great time to do whatever you can to make yourself healthy. Obviously, natural habits and our essential oils, we're big believers in them. Just obviously, we want to make sure we're giving the right information. In no way, and there's a lot of misinformation about essential oils out there, and we never want to mislead people. Just to be clear, when it comes to obviously protecting yourself from getting sick, essential oils will not in any way stop you from contracting any type of virus. They're not a cure for those types of things at all. But they do have properties that can help boost your immune system, and whether it's drinking water, taking vitamin C, eating right, getting rest, all these things, not smoking, all these things we can do to make sure that we're healthy. And so that if we are unfortunate and we do get sick, our bodies can increase their chances of doing that. So right now, our Protect blend that is good for immune boosting, we are, while supplies last, doing a sale. We're doing 40% off Protect blend, both in the 15 milliliter pure essential bottle, or if you want it on a roll-on form, with a jojoba oil in it, and you can conveniently carry it with you anywhere. Discount's applied automatically. Just buy any Protect blend. It does not include the bundle. So check us out at nhoils.com. Again, that's the Protect blend, 40% off. nhoils.com. Stay healthy, and we love you. So, all right. So Hanna Ann doesn't consider herself the runner-up. Do you consider? No, there's an argument to be made, Hanna Ann, that I don't doubt your sincerity at all. I mean, but you could also argue that you were the winner in terms of as it all played out. I guess what I'm trying to say is you got engaged to Peter. It seemed like Peter did you dirty, so to speak, right? Maybe not intentionally. Again, I like Peter, but in that moment, you were the you had a bad beat, you were the sympathetic person, right? So and now you're single, and now you're out there, and now you've moved to LA. So are you, after it's all said and done, I mean, I guess whether you're a runner up or not, was this the best case scenario for Hanna Ann, or are you still dealing with the heartbreak?
No, this is the best case scenario, because no one needs to be with someone that's not going to give them their full heart. So yes, this is the best. I believe I walk away, being in the best spot, because he wasn't, Peter wasn't all the way there with me. He wasn't giving me 100% of his heart. During our breakup, I even said, I will stay with you. Even if it killed me, I will stay by your side. I just need to know you're going to give me your full heart. And when he said he couldn't.
So what do you mean by if even he broke up with you, you'd stay with him? Why'd you say that?
What I was meaning is not if he broke up with me. It was more of I will stay with you despite how hard this is going to be. Because that's the commitment and choice I made. And when someone can't give me that in return, that's when I feel like it's okay to walk away. And, I have a lot of peace with that, because, I do know what I deserve, and that's not to be half loved.
So question, I got together with Peter. I don't know if I think it was late December. It might've been early January, but it was right when the show started. And it was kind of one of those normal conversations and Peter was very protective of his choice. He seemed very happy at the time. He seemed, drained from the experience, but him and I were just kind of shooting the shit with a couple friends. And he did mention he was in a relationship, right? And so one thing he did ask me, he was just what are my thoughts about, he's like, I'm talking with my person about, moving to LA and living together. And, what did you and Vanessa do? Did you guys live together, et cetera, et cetera? So now that you're moving to LA, were you always planning on moving to LA, or once you guys broke up, were you reconsidering that decision? Like, were you and Peter ever talking about living together in LA or anywhere else?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my plan was to always move back to LA. I've spent some time here prior to the show. Really, our futures were just aligning up. You know, in my eyes, at least, I thought our futures were aligning up perfectly. And so we did speak about moving in with each other, but I was always going to move to LA regardless. I really didn't have to change much of my future plans.
Gotcha.
But I'm in LA now, and
when
without
you
Peter, thank goodness for that.
Do you
that would have been a really good TV show. Exes living together.
Yeah. Well, what if Peter would have said, "Hey, I want you to move to LA. I want to live with you. P.S. I live with my parents. How do you feel about that?" Was it discussed getting your own place? Were you even considering moving in with the Webbers? Like, what was going on there?
I love the Webbers. They are the nicest family.
Barb clearly loves you.
His family's a bonus. Truly. I always saw his family as like a gift.
Yeah.
You know,
well, they seem great.
I thought Peter was at the time I thought Peter was a gift, and I thought his family was just like the most amazing addition. Obviously we were only engaged for 2 months, so it wasn't even like that serious of a conversation. But yeah, we did talk about, different options of what we would do, and definitely it would be in LA, not in Westlake where his family's at. But
gotcha. Okay. So
I do love his family though.
Yeah. And again, like it was wild watching AFR, and what we know, to be clear, is that Barb loves Peter. And she's very protective of Peter, except the only person that she might love more is you, because she was like shaming her son on national television for the benefit of you, which I thought was pretty wild. Have you talked to Barb at all since the show ended?
No, we haven't spoken, which is crazy because really, like, I had the breakup with Peter that I had to kind of, grieve and move on from, but also Barb, because I adored her, and she's just such a good person, and was, really a great, who I considered almost a second mother to me. But moving on from that, I knew I just had to isolate myself from like anyone close with him so that I could, focus on moving forward, which was hard at the time.
When you guys, so after Peter proposed and you said yes, like it's like a weird couple days, right? You have your, like, for the people who don't know, you immediately kind of have your, what they call like happy couple weekends. It's like your very first happy couple, and they'll put you up in a nice house, wherever, for you guys, Australia. And then that's a weird, like, especially at first, because you, like, the show just kind of ends, right? Like, you go from this crazy show, and everyone's like, all right, well, bye, good luck, happy engagement. And then, you might be with a couple producers who are like making sure you have food and supplies, etc. But like, you're off camera, they give you your phone, they give you your phones. Like, I know, I listened to a little bit of your podcast on Happy Hour, and you mentioned how, Peter obviously didn't get into much detail about the Madison and the whole breakup, but what were some of the things you guys talked about, like, right after the engagement, in terms of, like, kind of processing the whole experience, and what questions did you have, and at what moment did you feel like things might be a little off, or you questioned it, or were you guys, like, in honeymoon phase for those 4 days?
Yeah, so after we got engaged, we were able to spend a couple more days in Australia. Of course, we were like in hiding, so we, had to stay at the house. But we had, the best couple of days. Really, the questions were just getting to know one another more. Like, common question, like, what's your favorite foods? Like, what's your cell phone number? What do you like to do on the weekends? Home, talking about future plans, talking about jobs, and like my big move to California. What was really cool is we were able to FaceTime my family, which was really surreal, because I hadn't spoken to my family since hometowns, which wasn't that much time. And so we spent a lot of time FaceTiming my family. We kept it a secret from his family until he got back to
so we could watch the big reveal. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, the big reveal, which I thought was so worth it. They were so excited. So really just getting to know each other and kind of seeing how we are on a day-to-day basis without, you know, the eyes and pressure of cameras around you, which was really nice. Being outside, just like being with each other without like having these mics on your back and stuff.
Totally. So you mentioned your dad. I remember like hometown episodes when Peter had a conversation with your dad. I thought to myself, well, he has to pick Hannah Ann, because if he doesn't pick Hannah Ann, he's your dad might kill him. I mean, he did pick you, so there was that. But how did your parents feel about it when they found out? And then did Peter talk to your parents at all? Like, what was through the process of the breakup? Like, what were some conversations, if any, that Peter had with your parents?
Yeah. So when we got engaged, it was really important for Peter and I both, even though we weren't able to see each other unless it was under a happy couple weekend. It was important to us both for us to get to know each other's families. And so we actually our families had like a group message going on. We had like family of 9. And so
really?
Like our families would, just
Wait,
like
the Webbers
text each other different. Yes.
How do you pronounce your last name, by the way?
Sluss.
Sluss?
Yes.
Sluss. Oh, that must have been fun when you were young.
Sluss. Yeah. But we had like a family group message going on just so like our families could feel united, even though we were, so apart from each other.
You had group text going on with families, and you're like molding the families together.
Yeah. Wow. My family was so excited because they knew I was like so in love with Peter, and I saw Peter as just like the greatest gift I've ever been given, and I knew that I think his parents always knew that I was always going to like stand by his side and love him and take care of him. And, my parents, believed that from Peter as well. So of course, both families were really supportive and excited, and just really excited, for AFR to where our families could like be together. That didn't happen.
So at what point on these group texts was Peter like slowly, because like my family's on a group text. I have I have 10 siblings and my parents, and they're texting all day long. I'm a dick. I have them on mute, and I come in, I can't keep up, because honestly, lots of times they're texting about things that are going on in Wisconsin, and it's just this doesn't relate to me. Did Peter mute himself at some point? At what point was Peter responding less and less, for you were getting worried about is Peter gonna, at what point did you sense that there might be something off with Peter? And then did it reflect in his group text messages?
Did it reflect in the group messages? Things that Peter had told, my mom and my parents, my family felt confident that he was, going to stay by my side and support me as well as I'm supporting him through this awkward time of the show airing. So my parents didn't pick up on anything, the times that they did speak. Times that I picked up on things was when the season started. And that was when the whole wishy-washiness kind of began.
So when the season started, he got weird?
Yeah.
Like what way?
And I'm like, oh crap, something's about to go down.
Sure. But how what specifically though?
As the season started, it was difficult for me because we're still getting to know each other.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing long distance.
It's hard. It's
it's very hard. You're trying to get to know each other, and you're trying to fill each other out, and how really kind of get into the rhythm of how we talk through different problems we're having. So, conversations kind of started about his struggles of watching the show, but it was very downplayed. He, asked me to stay by his side, telling me that we're going to get through this, telling my mom that he was going to stay by my side and support me, that we were going to get through this difficult time. He was having trouble processing his emotions, more geared towards that. There'd be little peeps of it that were more of a red flag here and there. But at the end of the day, he was my partner. And if someone's asking me to stay with him, I'm going to stay with him, especially during this circumstance where you're far apart. You're having to watch your fiance on TV. He's doing all this press. It's a very awkward time.
So just out of curiosity, did you have, because I'm just listening to you talk, right? And it sounds like, as someone who was in Peter's position and who got engaged, how can I say this eloquently? You seem to be a very calming presence for Peter, right? I didn't have that experience. It was more the other way around where, and again, in fairness to people in your position or Vanessa, it's like it's very hard to be the winner. I've said this, it's sometimes the hardest because you can't tell, you have this experience with all these women on the show. You kind of feel alone because like you can't tell them. And if they even sense that you won, there's a little bit of, not jealousy, but competing, et cetera, et cetera. So I spent a lot of time trying to talk with Vanessa about like trying to calm her. When the show started airing, like it wasn't necessarily me having a change of heart, and not that she had a change of heart either. It was just a lot of discussions and confrontations and, quite honestly, arguments about the show. And yet I'm hearing you talk, and it seemed like you were the calming force for Peter while he was having peaks and valleys with his emotions. I mean, was that true, or did you ever have a moment where you freaked out? Do you freak out, Hanna, Ann? Like,
no, I do. I mean, we definitely had moments, but we never like argued necessarily. I mean, not that I can remember. We weren't ever like going at it, like fighting. My point was always just like, we always try to put each other, like I always try to put myself in his shoes, and he always tried to put himself in my shoes. And that really helped with us. So we were able to see like different points of views. And like, as a bachelor, like understood he was under a lot of pressure. And like, at the end of the day, I always wanted to keep the big picture in mind. And, the goal or winning per se is me and Peter walking away from this experience together. And that's always what was on the forefront of my mind, which helped bring a lot of like clarity when you're kind of having like the anticipation of the season starting or seeing certain like scenes.
Yeah. So you seem remarkably level-headed for this experience. And it's interesting because I think sometimes people, again, going back to if you were ever criticized, it was almost because you seemed level-headed. If you had people thinking you weren't sincere, it was almost because of that. Does that make sense? Where it's just like, if you're not losing your shit and you're not like pulling a Victoria F, then you can't like, so it was like, people were criticizing Victoria, but everyone was like, well, at least she must like clearly mean it because I don't know, she's losing her shit. But do you like, have you always been this way where you're very level-headed, and do you have to feel like you have to defend yourself by being that way? Because I know I did too, because like on Andy's season, I was called the strategic one, because that was like, well, I mean, why I'm doing this because it makes sense. And yet, you seem so level-headed about your decisions. And I don't take that as insincerity, but I feel like some people did.
Right. Like walking into the mansion day one, like I was there for Peter and was going to do whatever that I could to maximize my time and to put us first. And so whenever like, it got hard during the show or even afterwards, I always, placed us first and keeping the big picture in mind. Like I didn't ever want to get wrapped up into the show or wrapped up into, the roses. I always wanted to think like long-term, me and him, we're going to get through this, because I wanted, at that time, I wanted to be like Sean and Catherine Lowe. Like I wanted that. Like that's the picture that I had in mind of us, even before I got engaged. Like I'm very creative. Like I'm a visual, and I always kept that like right in front of me so that I wouldn't get wrapped up into anything. At the end of the day, like, did it really matter that he was making out with this person or gave this person a rose before me? It matters, when two people are together and choosing each other every day. That's what I wanted.
I mean, listen,
that's all I wanted. Someone to choose me every single day.
It sounds, you sound almost too damn pragmatic, where again, like you were the person on the show, and it was like pain, like in a sincere way, painful to watch, because you're like telling Peter, hey, listen, if you have sex with other women, you're crying while doing this. But you were like, again, like not like I was very defensive of Madison in that moment, saying like, all the things, all the debates on whether she should have said this or she should have said that. I had no problem with Madison struggling with the idea that it bothered her. And it seemed like it bothered you, but you just decided once again to put yourself in Peter's shoes and say like, if you have to do this, we'll get through it. And I just find it to be like, where does this come from? Have you like...
Well, when I made that statement during Fantasy Suite Week, it wasn't in regards to, hey, Peter, here's your hall pass. No.
Okay, what did you mean?
No.
Because it sounded like a hall pass.
No, I was not giving Peter Weber a hall pass.
Well,
no, I'm not.
What were you doing? Yeah.
I was putting myself in his shoes. You do what you need to do to get to where I'm at. And after all this is when we truly start. Because right now, this is like, it's open. You're dating other people, This is like your journey with it all. And if you choose me at the end, then it will all be worth it. And that's when we truly begin. When cameras are not around, when it's just us. That's where that was coming from. Because I was having like the big picture in mind. I made the choice that I thought was best for me and him. But I never wanted to pressure him. Like, that's the thing. I'm not the kind of girl that's like pressuring you to choose me or this. I wanted to leave that door so open to where at the end of the whole experience, he did everything that he needed, whatever that was, to where he knows exactly what he wants, and that's me. So to avoid a situation that I got myself into.
It's what's crazy. Like, maybe you're just not dramatic enough for Peter.
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe Peter's just I know I've
I
made
don't
this
play
mistake.
games. I'm very like straightforward.
Well, it's funny because a lot of people say that, right? Like a lot of people are like, I don't like drama. I'm not a drama. But like you showed it. You truly don't. And it's almost like maybe that was like too simple for Peter, or But that's a compliment to you. But that is wild. Now, before we'll wrap up talking about Peter, but I am more curious about your dad's relationship with him, because I know he was really hard on Peter. Not hard on Peter, but he was very direct with Peter. Yeah. And you had this group chat, like before Peter broke up with you. Like, what conversation did Peter talk to your dad or anything? Like, what conversations did he have, or not at all? Did he just break up with you?
So my dad's a lot like me. Like, we're very direct. Like, we don't play games. And so my dad's saying to Peter, don't waste a word. Don't say that to my daughter. Say you're falling in love with her unless you truly mean it. Because, the family, the family I grew up in, like, words are very powerful. Mean what you say. And so my dad knew that about me. He knew that if Peter were to say I love you or to get engaged to me, how seriously I would take that. Peter didn't listen to my dad's forewarning, Ranger Ricks, but yeah. So after we broke up, my dad reached out to Peter.
After you broke up?
Yeah. Okay. After we broke up.
What did he say?
Because after we broke up, like, it was just kind of silent, My parents were like, where do we go from here? So my dad reached out to Peter, just wanting to know if he was going to, like, be single or not after the final rose. And Peter said that basically was saying that he couldn't answer that. So I was like,
so your dad wanted to know, kind of protecting you, just saying, hey, listen, it's one thing you broke up with my daughter, fine, but like, he I guess, was your dad just trying to protect you and not have you be blindsided that he was gonna parade out, assuming Madison, saying, oh, I'm in love now, and maybe even propose, or who knows, right? Like,
I mean, and my dad was, his point is, you proposed to my daughter on national television, you broke up with my daughter on national television, at least allow her to have this moment in private to know if you are getting back with someone else or whoever that would have been, because it was never very clear to me that we broke up because of Madison. Just like he told my family, he's processing his emotions. He said tidbits here and there, but like, it was so downplayed and wishy-washy. So yeah, my dad did reach out. You know, obviously he said he couldn't answer that. So, and I was like, okay, cool. I mean,
did you feel like you had your answer when you said I can't answer that? Like when he said that, do you assume that he was talking to Madison? Or when he broke up with you, did he mention Madison? Was like he didn't say anything about having feelings for Madison still, or did you just act like it was a clean breakup?
No. You know, there was like I mentioned, you know, him needing closure with Hannah Brown, and then in regards to Madison, he said it was hard to watch his scenes with her. So, I honestly had no idea, but at least I knew that kind of going into it.
So for all you knew, though, when he broke up with you, he might have pursued Hannah Brown?
Yeah. I mean,
Wow.
I had honestly no idea. I was literally on a roller coaster of so much torn, conflicted, and confusion. Like,
well, that's wild to think, because, you know, we watched the show, right? And then, you know, we watched Peter break up with you. Then we watched Chris Harrison go talk to Madison and come out. But it's crazy.
That's the first time I'm seeing and hearing
yeah. But it's crazy.
I'm just like any other viewer. I'm like, oh.
Totally.
And Chris Harrison saying, I'm like, oh.
Because it's funny, because I just always dismiss the Hannah Brown rumors as like fun fan theories, obviously, because, you know, especially when she went on the show, she was at Dancing with the Stars, so there's no way like she joined the show. But to hear you say that, realizing that for all you knew, he could have been pursuing Hannah Brown and not Madison, is kind of wild to think about. I mean, obviously he didn't, but you were totally in the dark. And it probably made as much sense to you as Madison, because he literally asked to call Hannah Brown, and then he broke up with you like a week later.
Yeah, that was our last happy couple, so like a week or two.
Wow. Have you talked to Madison at all?
Madison, I spoke with her right after her and Peter broke up, and we're going to plan to go get some coffee or dinner next time she's in LA. Madison, so she reached out to me after the breakup. We were really good friends on the show. Really good friends, actually.
Are you good
and
friends?
So, yeah.
What are your thoughts about Madison?
Are we good friends now? I'm definitely open to going to get coffee. I said, hey, let's go get coffee or dinner next time you're in LA, and we'll go from there. I mean, I think everyone involved just wants to move forward, and me and Madison, we were really good friends on the show, and we'll see, you know, where this coffee date brings us to.
All right.
That's
so
gonna be interesting coffee date. So, no cameras allowed.
Are you out there dating now? Like, what's you? I know you went on Ellen. You said you wanted to date Tyler C. We don't know what's going on with Tyler C and Hanna.
Stop.
What? No, you don't. Or
I think every girl could say that they have, like, you know, a crush on him, think he's cute. Literally, they just asked me who I would date or who I would think is cute from, like,
so that was
Bachelor Nation.
That was more anecdotal, not like serious.
Yeah, it's not like Tyler Cameron. No, I was just like, he's cute, he's hot. I think everyone would agree to that.
Gotcha. Are you actively dating? I know you said it, you know, you're out there, you're like ready to mingle. Like, how? I mean, other than obviously right now we're all kind of stuck in our homes, but hey, you can go on dating apps, you can slide into people's DMs, people can slide into yours. Like, how active are you out there, like, really, like, trying to mingle right now?
Yeah, really trying to mingle on the FaceTiming and texting since I'm quarantined.
I mean,
fun fact, I actually haven't been out on, like, a legit date yet. Because before all of this was right before AFR, and, like, I was just, you know, going out with, like, friends. Couldn't date anyone, obviously, because I could have still been engaged. And now I'm definitely getting to know some people. There's one person in particular I'm excited to go on a date with after.
Oh, so you have, like, you've set up a date.
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting to know different people, but there's one person in particular I'm really excited. But
Can we name? Are we not naming names yet?
No, this is going to be kept private until
Is it a normal person, or does he have more than 10,000 Instagram followers?
I'm sure he does.
Yeah.
He's someone that's been really nice, and I'm excited to get to know more. And it's weird because like when I'm actually liking someone now, it's not the whole world knows about it. Like it's nice just to like have private conversations, slowly get to know someone, and not have everyone know every detail.
But we're still in the early stages. Like you're not exclusive with this person, and you're
I'm not
inviting other
for a while.
And during quarantine time, you're open to other random gentlemen reaching out to you.
Oh yeah, I'm not going to be exclusive for a while. I'm getting to know lots of different people.
Did this
but I will say one
into
person
your
in
DM?
particular that I'm excited to go on a date with after all this is over with. Really excited about it.
Did he slide into your DMs, or how did he make it move? He did?
The move was he slid into my DMs, and I was like freaking out. I was like, oh my gosh.
Someone cool. Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely someone cool. I'm like, oh, you're so hot.
I'm
excited.
What's their profession?
Actor, for sure, actor.
What's their profession?
I can't because it's going to give it away.
How is that going to give it away?
It's no one
Leonardo DiCaprio, you guys.
It's no one I've been seen with, but it is someone that like I'm going to try to keep this private.
But we just want a profession.
He's an actor, Nick. He's a famous actor.
I don't know.
Oh my God, Hanna and Leonardo DiCaprio. Oh my God.
Isn't he in a relationship? I think Hanna might be a little too old for Leo. No.
No, I'm still like I'm not exclusive. I'm not going to be exclusive for a while.
You're excited about this, hot, maybe super famous actor,
hunk
guy who's
he might not even be an actor.
He might not be. He could be a musician or an athlete.
They say this is like it's a fun time to get to know someone because you really get to know them without any of the sexual stuff.
I totally agree. I mean, for all the people, I think this is, obviously with quarantining or self-isolation, there's some certainly drawbacks, but totally you can if you are talking to someone, I'm surprised, are you guys texting this guy? Are you FaceTiming? Because Rochelle's right. This is a great time to play 20 questions, have a conversation like this. You can really get to know someone, removing any type of sexual tension, especially for you, someone who's trying to be a little low key. Certainly, you have a lot of privacy texting or FaceTiming. Are you trying to take advantage of that?
Yeah, it's actually really nice. So I could really get to, know the person before we go out on a date or, go on a walk to where I'm I'm really interested into this person, before possibly, being seen or whatever.
Gotcha. Hey, I got one question about Peter I forgot to ask you, and then we'll keep going into your
back on to Peter.
Your love life.
Why?
No, one more question.
Kill me with these Peter questions.
It was really interesting when when Peter was very even proud and very loud about no one's going to spoil this season, right?
Yeah.
And so when the season ended, he was engaged to you kind of like any other normal season. The fact that Madison left, okay, whatever, that doesn't really matter. When people say spoiled is the Bachelor engaged or with someone? Did that bother you at all that he was saying this? Or when he said that, did it make sense to you at first that he was saying this in terms of no one's going to spoil it? Because did it seem like he was planning on breaking up with you? You get what I'm saying?
Gosh. Yeah,
why is it why aren't people going to spoil this? Your family knew, some people knew. How is he so certain that it wasn't going to be spoiled?
Okay, that's a good question. No, I did not get that at all. So Peter and I don't think Peter didn't get engaged to me with the intent, this is what I'm going to do to make it an ending no one can guess. It was we agreed we were not going to say anything, not even to our closest friends. And when I would actually travel for Happy Couple, I would wear a wig. And I had a secret name. So when we were talking on the phone,
what was your name?
Yes, I had a blonde wig, and I called him Josh, and he called me Avery.
Okay.
So he would always just call me Avery. So yeah, I was Avery and he was Josh and Avery. And so we had code names, and so we were just very committed not telling any of her friends, and you have to think, if you tell one friend, they might, have a fun night out and might say something. So that's where that was all coming from, is that we were not going to say a word. I was wearing my wig whenever I went to go see him. We didn't even call each other our actual names. We had fun with it.
Oh.
All right.
As weird as that might sound.
No, it's just like...
But I'm not Avery anymore. I don't ever want to hear me called that name again.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
I mean, it was just kind of interesting because, like, like Vanessa and I did that. I called her Mindy. I think I don't forget what she called me.
Mindy?
Mindy Mays was her name in my phone.
Oh, wow.
Really?
I don't know how I came up with that. But yeah, it was just interesting that Peter was so certain of it, and the fact that it played out the way it did is almost like ironic or coincidental, because like had you guys not broken up, it would have been like someone was going to find out, I would think. I don't know.
I mean, typically in the past, people find out from like
I don't know, people.
Family or friends, someone will say something. And literally it was only like our immediate family that knew, not even our closest friends, which was so weird because like I came back and my best friend would be like, so what happened? And be like, I can't say. And it, that was so hard, just not being able to, even at first I was keeping an exciting secret and a secret that I couldn't wait to share with the whole world, my happiness. Mm-hmm. And afterwards I was keeping a secret that was even harder because I was sad and I was like going through like a breakup, and just the anticipation of just knowing the whole world was going to know and like, have their different opinions on it was even harder because it's like I'm keeping a secret that's not exciting.
So, not for
painful.
You. It was very exciting to watch, though. Sorry, it was.
I'm glad everyone got some entertainment out of my breakup.
So were you bummed that they like announced the Bachelorette so early? Because it seemed like by the time the finale came, everyone was like on board for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Any other season, it might have been you.
I am not ready for that.
In what way?
I'm not ready to, I've moved on, but also it's different. Like right now, like dating, no one knows about it. It's private, but to be dating publicly again, on such a national scale, dating not just one person, but 20 plus different guys, that's a huge responsibility. And if I were to ever do that, I would want to be just so emotionally and mentally strong to where that I could take that on, because like I always said, putting myself in Peter's shoes, and that was a big responsibility. Like that's a lot of filtering through so many different personalities and emotions. So and that would have been really hard to like do that turnaround. Had
they asked you to be the Bachelorette, you would have said no.
Yes, no.
Yeah, fine. I have to believe you.
Yeah. I mean, you have to think, that's a huge responsibility dating so many different guys. Yeah,
it really is. It's just hard. It's also hard for people to say no. No, I get it.
Engaged, yeah, no. Like I was very, like in my mind and heart, I was already thinking in the future for us. And so it's like losing the person I thought he was, but losing the future I thought I had. And that's, it takes some time to kind of, get back on your feet, and which I have.
Do you think knowing what
I want to date just one person right now?
Do you think knowing what you know now about Hanna Brown and Peter, do you think Peter should have said no to being the Bachelor?
No, I think if Peter and Hanna Brown, not me, were meant to be together, something would have, worked out for them.
I just mean more in the sense like what you just described, why you would have said no to the Bachelorette, being like you were, still processing the breakup, even though you're dealing with it. Yeah. And Peter admitting to you that he was still processing his feelings for Hanna. Do you think
needing closure?
Do you think he was emotionally ready to take on the responsibilities, as you said, of being the Bachelor? And do you think that played a role in how, messy the season got?
Yeah, this past season was really messy, but, Peter did the best that he could. I don't know if I could say he shouldn't have been the Bachelor, because I don't ever want to like take that away from him or minimize, his feelings, because he did, the best that he could, and he'll find love in a different way.
Well, it's very, very, very nice of you to say.
I know. I just,
you seem like, you seem okay with it, and
yeah,
I know you were a little tough on Peter at AFR. You could have said whatever you wanted. Everyone was going to agree with you in that moment. But have you, now that a few weeks have gone by, do you still stand by all the things that you said to Peter, or is your heart a little softer about the whole experience? Or both?
No, I stand by everything I said to Peter. Yes, this is a TV show, but also this is my life, and I needed to do and say what I needed to where I could move forward after, and like I've had like my final piece, and that's what I did. Was I aware that everyone was going to have different opinions? Yes, and everyone has a right to that, but I did what I needed to where I could be like, peace out. Okay. I said what I needed.
So now that you are excited about this new musician / actor / person in Hollywood.
Not a musician, I'll say that.
Okay, we're narrowing it down. All right. So back to actor. Race car driver, maybe?
It's Leo. I picked it. I guessed it the first time.
It's not Leo. Isn't he he's in a relationship?
Everyone's gonna be like going on their phones, like.
Listen, I'm fine. I am fine to spread the rumor that that Leonardo DiCaprio slid in your DM if you want to go with that. So does this mean like, are you actively hoping to maybe be hanging out with someone that who knows when they're gonna film Paradise? But is that something that's at least on your radar to consider, or not?
Paradise, I'll see closer to the time where I'm at. I'm not going to close the door on any opportunity, but before getting myself into anything, I want to make sure that I'm ready, because it's a lot to take on.
It's a lot different, though. It's a lot.
Yeah, I heard Paradise Paradise is a lot different. Weren't you on Paradise?
Yeah, I was on everything, Hanna.
You're the king of Bachelor.
Paradise is fun. It's a lot of fun. If you are single and open to,
I'm gonna be single for a while,
and slightly, you can be kind of open to meeting someone. You don't even really have to be that open to meeting someone, but it's a lot of fun, and you might be surprised. It is interesting if they ever, assuming when they get around to shooting Bachelor in Paradise, like everyone's available. Madison, Hannah Ann, Victoria F, because Claire's the Bachelorette, like everyone's a free agent. Everyone can go on the beach.
Yeah.
Who from your season?
Who knows if the beach is actually going to happen, though?
Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah.
Highly doubtful.
At some point, it's going to happen. I just don't know when.
It could be filmed like in California. Maybe it doesn't have to be in Mexico.
Who knows? But it'll be on some sort of beach. That much. When they get around to it. Is there anyone from Paradise that would make you... Is there anyone from your season that would make you reluctant to say yes to if you knew they were going?
No.
That's no.
No. I know that's like not a fun answer.
No, it's fine.
But it's honestly just the truth. Everyone would be fun.
You're clearly not dramatic, Hanna Ann. Which is funny because I
just like to have a good time.
Yeah, but the first 2 episodes, everyone thought you were going to be like the super villain, and then you mellowed out. Yeah. But you seem, unless you're good at hiding it, you don't seem very dramatic in a very positive, great way. Maybe you're just not great TV.
Yeah, maybe I'm not good TV. I don't know.
That's
we know that's not true. We know that's.
My whole personal life has been. I feel like the past
not being great TV
4
is
months
not a
has
bad,
been all on TV.
Yeah, that's not true, Nick. But do you think you kind of push your emotions down? Do you feel like you have a habit of just everything's fine? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You do?
Tell me. Yeah, can you think of a time that you just were so mad that you lost your shit? You're just what was the last time you just went off on somebody?
AFR, I think, is probably one of the most heated times of, like, I was
You were
heated.
still very measured. You were, I mean, again, that's a compliment. You were classy. You were very classy.
I
mean, like, have you ever pulled
to me?
Have you ever pulled like a Victoria F, where it's just like you did some shit, and afterwards you're like, I don't know what happened. I'm sorry. Like,
I think I need to do that. Maybe I would have maybe I wouldn't be in the position I was in.
No, pull a Victoria F.
Listen, talking to you here, I really like. I think it's great that you. It's so hard for people in general to when faced with conflict of any kind, to have their first thought be, what is it like for the other person? And quite honestly, most people never get to that point. And when people do, they're not 23 years old and they're not 24. Usually that's after a few years of dealing with some shit, and they're like, they get better at that. So I think it's great that you are like that. It's always, everyone has their moments. And I'm wondering if maybe you haven't had years where you just completely lost it. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I think that a lot of that comes from, I loved Peter. I was in love with him, and I was wanting to do anything to make it work. And we both were just like, let's put one another first.
No, I know.
And let's see where that takes us.
I think that, I no doubt that you did.
It took us down like the wrong path.
But I'm saying it's like some people.
I think it's good. But most importantly, this is going to sound crazy, but I believe in the process. Like, I believe in the process of being the bachelor, bachelorette, and I wanted to honor it every step of the way. Even the part afterwards where you're having to like look back and watch the season, even how awkward that is, I wanted to continue to, because it's a choice and commitment that I made, and I wanted to make it work. And even crazy, this is going to sound crazy, like, I still believe in it. Like, I still think it could work for people.
I mean, it clearly can, because it has, but interest, it's like super ironic, but it takes someone like
discipline and commitment.
Well, it takes someone like yourself who's willing to see this experience as unique, because what a lot of people people criticize Madison, and I see both sides, right? Like, I see, I've made the argument that, like, hey, listen, Madison, this is a real experience, and then she's just trying to make this experience real life because it's going to be real life, and some people can't do that. You had the ability to say, yeah, it's going to be real life, and eventually, if I end up with Peter, we're going to make it real, but like, this experience isn't normal, and so I can't have the exact same expectations in this moment. And again, like, most people in your position haven't had that experience, and it's funny that it takes someone with a mindset that you have to make a bachelor relationship work, and you weren't really given a fair crack at trying to make it work, which is, it's a bummer, but you seem to have the right mindset about it, because most people can't do that. I mean, quite honestly, I didn't have that mindset when I was, especially on Andy's season. I was just like, how do I, like, she didn't end up picking me, but I was like, man, if
it's hard.
If she's going to have sex with so-and-so, what am I going to do? Can I get engaged? And I had all these questions, in my head that eventually it didn't matter, but it was, I'm impressed with your ability to process this experience the way you have, because a lot of people aren't able to do that.
Well, thank you. It was funny the other day, because I'm unpacking my things, and it was the first episode of the season that aired. I wasn't going to watch. I told Peter, I was like, I'm not going to watch this season. This is the past, and I'll watch our scenes, and I'm focused on me and you and, building our future. So I wasn't going to watch the season. So I actually went out and I did a pottery class with some of my girlfriends. And, this is when I was in love and engaged. I made a ring holder, and I put it, Weber on it. I was like, so cute, and it's actually unpacking my things, and I see this ring holder that I made for myself. Now it is the designated shot glass. So I'm like, what am I gonna do with this Weber ring holder? Shot glass. It's gonna be a shot glass.
Did you have to give the ring back?
Yes, I did have to give the ring back.
Damn it.
But I still have my ring holder that I made that, and every time I take a shot, I'll think of the 60 days I was engaged. I was 60-day fiancé. It's like that's what I call myself.
I have
60-day fiancé. I love it.
I have the ring box. Like,
you kept the box?
Oh.
I don't know why. I think Vanessa left it. Like, I think I still have. I actually think it's in this drawer right over here.
Go get it.
Oh my gosh.
Should I see if I can find it? Hold on.
Yeah. Did you find it, Nick?
Here it is. Neil. This is Neil Lang right there.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. So I have my shot glass, and you have.
Oh.
I have an empty. This is very metaphorical.
Symbolic. Yeah.
It's very symbolic of my life. It's an engagement ring that's completely empty inside. You know what? It's I'm glad I have this. It's someday it'll be a fun story to tell.
Someday. I mean, I don't know what I'll do with my shot glass. I mean, it has a big W on it.
Oh, no, I think you should totally keep it. I think it's awesome that you're doing what you're doing with it.
And everyone who comes over
takes a picture with
going
it,
out. Yeah, like has to take a shot out of the W ring holder.
So tell me, your what? Do you know what your love language is?
My love language, words of affirmation.
Is it? Have you taken it? Okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's words of affirmation. Words of affirmation.
I mean, Peter likes to use his words, so.
He loves to use his words, and I eat it up. I'm like, oh, really? Oh.
So describe, now that you've had this breakup with Peter, what have you learned about yourself in terms of, granted, that was a unique experience, but when you're dating around and this new guy that you're excited that you're trying to get to know, tell me qualities in a man that... Not generic ones, but obviously you want him to make you laugh and he's nice and respectful, but what are some things that are quirks about a guy that you really like, that you find interesting or you hope to have in your next relationship?
Someone that is decisive, very just knows what they want and has shown that just in the little things, is very aware, and is someone that is I'm looking for someone emotionally really strong, whether that's they've gone through something really hard in their past, or someone that has had a major setback and has been able to come back from it, because I think that's really attractive when someone is very mentally, emotionally strong, so that I know that I could be led in that direction as well. Someone family oriented as well.
Obviously,
but
have you always felt that way, or do you think that's? I mean, it sounds, quite honestly, it sounds like that's something that is a result of this experience, which it makes total sense. But
yeah,
also it makes sense in general. How do you think you're going to find that? Do you think, when you're talking to this guy, how are you going to be hey, tell me about a time that you things didn't work out for you?
Yeah. I think moving forward, it's just going to be taking things slow and just getting to know the person on a day-to-day basis, and just using my instincts, because I'm able just to be with that person and know that they're not, if I do decide to be exclusive with someone one day, which is very far from now, I'm able just we're just able to focus on each other versus on the show. I think that was more difficult for whoever the bachelor or bachelorette is, which I always was showed compassion towards, because they're managing or they're juggling multiple different.
Yeah, you seem. I mean,
relationships.
You said multiple times on this podcast that you were definitely going to stay single for a while.
Yeah,
and yet you want a guy who knows what he wants and decisive. So just for fun, if this gentleman actor Leo guy that you're talking to, you start talking, we're in this quarantine, you guys are FaceTiming every day, you're talking a lot, and then, hopefully sooner than later, we're outside, we're going on dates, and you're able to go out on a date with this guy, and you hit it off, and he's just decisively, Hanna Ann, I'd like you to be my girlfriend. Are you do you think you're going to be ugh, I don't know, I need some free time? Or are you going to his decisiveness about wanting to commit to a relationship with you?
Mm-hmm. I'm going to take things really slow.
Okay.
I'm going to enjoy my free time, in essence, just focusing on myself, my family, my friends, and see where that takes me, because I have picked up on that when I'm very straightforward. I don't play games. I either like you or I don't. When I'm with someone, I'm all in. And, you know, I want to enjoy some time just growing my own self before I go all in with someone.
You want to have some fun.
Because I'm very committed. Like, I'm very like when I'm in something, like, I jump right in it, and I will be with that, you know, I'm very loyal, and I'll always stand by that person. So I realized that about myself, and I want to be more careful next time. And
what do you mean next time? What do you mean more careful? I mean, you're on The Bachelor.
Like, be more careful as in who I'm giving my heart to. Because remember, like, that was kind of like my biggest problem in the beginning of me and Peter on the show was in Santiago. I don't know if they remember, you know, I was very guarded with my emotions and my heart. And I guess I need to be more of that since I've been so, you know, burned.
Yeah, maybe not. I don't know. I mean, I don't.
No, that's not how love works. You gotta
Yeah.
back in, you gotta get hurt again.
I gotta get right back in it.
Yep.
I mean, listen, I'm a big believer.
I'm gonna enjoy some fun.
I'm a big believer in learning from experiences. Yeah. Like, you know, you saying, "Hey, I really value decisiveness and someone who's kind of been through it." Not to create more confusion, but to know what they want. And I've learned that from my past relationship. But I definitely agree with Rochelle is that sometimes when we face like a heartache or breakup and we feel embarrassment or whatever, sometimes we have a tendency of becoming closed off. And I don't think people should, right? There's a difference between like having baggage and then learning lessons, right? And so... but also, it totally makes sense that you want to, like, you're still young, you moved to LA, you're in a new city, like, you should definitely have your fun. But if you meet someone, you meet someone. Like, I wouldn't, I don't think you should be more, you know, like, I don't think, I mean, this is just mine and Rochelle's opinion, but like, you didn't seem more cavalier. And I hope that you don't become more guarded because of this experience from the show. And you know what? If you like another guy and you get blindsided again, you know what? You'll recovered once, you'll recover again. But you never want to, right? Like, I don't know. We don't want to lose the ability
of like our ability to.
Yeah, because at that point, it's just like, you turn into me.
Yeah, that's what I was you're going to be Nick, unable to feel anything.
I hope you don't. I hope you don't do that, Hannah. I hope you. I hope you go out there.
I'm just enjoying my fun.
Yeah, well, as you should. You deserve to do that. But if you do meet a nice guy, I hope that you feel comfortable enough with your own decisions, and you don't. I hope your experience didn't create any more doubt in yourself, but rather more clarity. Rather.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
Yes, and it definitely has. It's all about like your perspective and what you want to take away from it. So no, I really like your points. Definitely going to grow myself more and focus on me, you know, my family and friends. I mean, because it was like during the show, you know, I was away from everyone. And then afterwards, I felt like I was very distracted on me and Peter. Then afterwards, the breakup. And then now I'm kind of at a place where, okay, this is a fresh start. Like, I really like, you know, I have peace with how everything's ended, and I like where I'm at in life, and I'm going to keep it. I like this rhythm that I have right now. I'm going to keep it like that for a bit.
I think that's great. I think that's great, and it may not have been the way you wanted it to work out, but you kind of won the season if there was a winner, just by, in terms of if it's like,
oh, Nick.
I mean, just like, you know, you have the sympathy of America, right? Like everyone's best moment, and almost always everyone's best moment on that show is when they get broken up with. It never feels that way, but that's really the reality of it. And then obviously that doesn't usually happen for the person who gets proposed to or wins. Yeah. But you've had it all, like, and you got to win, and then you had like what anyone would consider the worst possible breakup is to think you won, and then on national television still get broken up with for the runner-up is like, and now you have the freedom to be young and still like go out there. And again, not that you wouldn't have been necessarily happy with Peter had he stayed true to what he said to you. But But here you are with the world at your feet, so to speak, and it should be a lot of fun.
I have a question. I know you said like the whole plan all along was like to move to LA, and so I'm just wondering about that plan. Like, what's involved in that plan, and like, were you always just going to wait until this age to come out, or what was going on?
Yeah. So, I've lived in like different cities prior. So like I was living in LA prior to the show this past summer.
Oh.
And so after the show, it was always my plan to come back to LA and to make it more of a permanent move, not a sublease, and to go back to what I was doing prior to the show, which is being a model. So really coming out to LA, was for my job. And first of all, in the beginning because of Peter and, his family and us being engaged. I
was at Whole Foods like a week ago, stocking up on food, and I turned to the right, and there's a whole wall of like workout equipment with Hannah Ann's face on it.
Oh yeah. That's me.
She's out there. She's really.
Are you gonna do acting too, or just modeling?
Just modeling. I don't think I would be a good actor. I don't know about acting. Really? I don't know.
You're in LA.
You have no plans.
No,
you'll leave that to your new boyfriend.
No, I do not have a boyfriend. I'm single and I'm loving it right now.
I mean, the guy that you're like super excited about and hope to grow.
There's one guy I'm particularly excited about.
So there's multiple guys, is what she's saying. That
Let's like this mystery guy. We don't want him to feel too confident about her excitement.
No,
he's
So
he has to earn it. Yeah, he has to earn it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited, but like we'll see. Yeah. But I'm also single, so it's not like I'm tied down. So
best place
to be. Taking things slowly.
Any opinions on the Hannah Brown and Tyler, whatever that is?
Whatever that is, I would definitely root for them to be back together. Because especially being in my position of an engagement being broken off. Hannah Brown had an engagement that was broken off. Like, I feel for her more in a sense of just that public breakup. Mm-hmm. And just having to like face him at AFR. Like, I totally kind of feel where she's coming from. Not the same situation, but similar and in a sense. So I would love for her to find love, and if that could be with Tyler, they would just be like the hottest couple.
What a PC answer. It's great.
No,
do you think that's what it is though?
I don't know. I mean, you're quarantined together, so you must be comfortable around each other. It looks like they're having fun with the photos I'm seeing online.
There you go.
It looks like the funnest thing ever.
I know.
All the rest of us are like in our living room, like
we're like,
ugh.
They look like so much fun. Like, they're smiling, and that would be really cool. I'm sure everyone would go crazy if they actually got back together, and if that's what was actually going on. I mean, they have history.
That they do.
They
do. Rochelle, do we have any Do You Know Me questions for Hannah Ann?
Yeah. Should I just ask them? Oh, text them to you?
Text them to me.
Oh, Nick, I meant to tell you, my dad said he would love to come on your podcast. He loves, he wanted me to tell you this. You're the very first podcast he's ever listened to. Ever. He loves your podcast.
Let's make this happen, Rochelle.
He wanted me to tell you that.
Oh man, what if, I don't know if we have time, but it'd been like, even if we get him in this like episode.
Yeah.
Just text him the link. Would he join right now?
Text him the link. Is he at work?
My dad just figured out how to download a podcast.
He literally has to click on this link.
Thanks to you, Nick.
He literally has to click on this link. There we go.
Oh, Ranger Rick in the house.
Rick, how are you doing?
Hey, doing good.
Oh, he sounds great too. Thanks for coming on.
I'm on the side of a mountain here in Tennessee.
You know what? In true Ranger Rick form, like, we appreciate it. Thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
So a couple questions for you. Your daughter, we've been talking with her obviously about her experience, and she's been lovely and very open, and we appreciate that. But it's been fascinating because obviously you were you kind of had your big moment at Hometowns, and you were very direct with Peter. And I remember watching it saying, man, like, how is Peter not going to pick Hanna Ann after you were so specific? Because, like, you were like, hey, don't waste words with my daughter. Peter's like, sure, sir. And then, like, 5 minutes later, he's like, Hanna Ann, I'm falling in love with you. And I'm like, well, he must be picking her because he wouldn't do this. Watching it back, like, Hanna, you and Peter were broken up by the time Hometowns aired, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So, Rick, what were your thoughts watching it back about that whole experience, knowing that Peter, told Hanna Ann that he was falling in love with her, and this was after he's proposed to her, after he broke up with her? Like, what was that experience like for you as a father watching that back?
Well, just, quite honestly, just a lot of disappointment because, I thought Peter was a real and genuine person. And I still think that he is. I didn't realize how confused he was.
Yeah.
Until, and of course, I'm not a person who watches a show on a regular basis. So that was kind of my first experience going back through and watching it. I mean, I knew what the show was and I'd seen it before,
Sure.
But it wasn't a regular show that I watched. So, but anyhow, I think it just showed how confused he was, about who he was as a person and kind of what he wanted out of life. And I think he just kind of got caught up into it, and I didn't quite understand it,
Yeah. No, I mean, were you angry at him at all, especially after watching the Hometown episode, or was it just more, being protective of Hanna Ann?
Probably more so being protective of Hanna. Of course, she's our oldest daughter, and only one really that's of age where she'd be considering marriage, I would guess you could say.
Sure.
So, I mean, when they broke up and seeing your daughter hurt, it's just like any other child. No matter what's hurt them emotionally, you're going to feel that. So yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say I wasn't angry, but that the angry phase, like for me, it's like, okay, I'm through that. Let's work on what we're going to do from here. So it's not like something that lasted for more than about 24 hours with me as far as being angry.
Wow.
I mean, get it, and then it's what you do afterwards is the most important thing.
Yeah.
And make sure that you're going to be able to go on. And of course, she was disappointed. I mean, you see a young girl that goes away like that, and has. I mean, I think Hanna went on the show for all the right reasons and probably thought that things would work out. I mean, otherwise, why would she have said yes? So I think seeing that level of disappointment in your child is very, it just hurts. It just hurts. And seeing her hurt that way for several days, I mean, it just took a while.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've literally been there, so I can only imagine. And I know when that was happening with me, my parents, my parents were just very protective and just wanted me to get over it. So I totally get that. Hanna Ann mentioned that after Peter broke up with Hanna Ann, that you reached out to him just to try to kind of get a sense of where his head was at. Like, is it related to after the final rose? And he didn't necessarily give you an answer that he could, or, I'm sure obviously the show probably asked him not to. Like, what was your kind of thinking that way in terms of reaching out to him? And I guess it's at least it's cool that you guys at least had a relationship where you felt comfortable enough to reach out to him, et cetera, and you talked to him. Yeah,
I mean, we had a lot of interaction while they were together. So I mean, these families were coming together. I mean, we had interactions. I'm not talking in person, but over the phone, that sort of thing. With his family and our family. So I just felt like I needed to contact him. One, to let him know how I felt, and two, just to kind of. I just didn't want him to do something. I just wanted my daughters. just wanted my daughter to be protected, and I was going to be protective of him. And we haven't come out in the public and said anything negative or bashed Peter. I mean, that's just not what we would do anyway.
Yeah.
I'm just, we just thought it was okay. This thing took place in public. Let's just go ahead and kind of bring closure to it privately. I mean, that's just how I look.
It makes a lot of sense. I mean, and it's definitely hard for the parents too, because, Hannah Ann signed up for this, so to speak. You supported her, but especially during hometowns, like these families have no idea what's going on, and they just like show up at your house and they start and you're just more like, is my daughter alive? Is she okay? What's going on? And this guy shows up. So it's always very confusing for the families. So, yeah. And so everyone's just trying to make this as a real situation. So I give you guys a lot of credit, for being so involved that way. It's funny because, Vanessa and I, the girl I got engaged to, we were together for 8 months. I don't think our families spoke once
via text.
Oh no, we spoke and corresponded quite a bit because we didn't know them and they obviously didn't know us. And and all the other boys that Hannah's ever gone out with, I mean, we either knew them personally or we knew their families. I mean, very local type dating, I guess. So this was a new experience from that aspect as well.
Well, that's cool. That's awesome, man. It's great that obviously you were so protective of Hannah Ann. I thought you were a rock star at hometowns. I love that you were very, very direct with Peter, and I loved what you said about not wasting any words. We live in a day and an age where it's easy to say things, especially things that we don't necessarily mean, and not that that
was my exact point right there.
Don't
say a bunch of stuff you don't really mean.
So I'm glad that you pointed that out. And again, I'm a fan of Peter. I've said this 100 times. He was in a difficult position, but I've been there before, and I've seen some parents. And again, because it's all very confusing, some parents are just so excited about this atmosphere, they even kind of they get caught up in it, in terms of the camera and the crew and this whole situation. But it was great to. And other fathers have, but it was great to have you have that kind of moment with Peter saying very do not waste these words, because it's interesting. And when it comes to breakups on the show or out of the show, when we do break up in relationships, we have a tendency of thinking about what that person said to us. Well, why'd you say that to me? Or what, you said you loved me, or you got engaged. I love what Hannah Ann said. I kind of said the same thing to Caitlin on my season. We didn't get engaged, but now Hannah Ann can no longer say, I've never been engaged before. It won't be the first time. No, it'll be different, but it won't, that won't ever be the same. And so I get it, and it makes a lot of sense that you had that conversation with Peter.
Right.
How do you feel about Hannah being out here in LA?
We're totally fine with that. She's been out there several times before, not for, to stay the rest of her life, but she's been out there. I think it was, maybe Hanna can correct me on this. I think it was last summer. She was out there for about 3 months though. And she has, friends out there and I think really likes the area. And I think that'd be a good move for her, to be honest with you.
She says she's excited about this guy she's been talking to you. Do you have any insight?
Don't do that.
No. I'm just kidding, Rick. I'm just kidding. No, but she's she sounds like she's enjoying the single life in a very mature and healthy way. So sounds like you did a great job parenting your daughter, Rick.
Oh, Nick.
Yeah, Hannah's always been real mature for her age, and something that you probably didn't see or pick up on in the show. You got to remember, Hannah's been out here working on her own since she was 15. A lot of people don't realize that. They think, oh wow, this little cute girl, she's probably never been away from home. I said, nah, we put her on a plane by herself when she was 15 years old, and she flew to Dallas for her first job with Varsity.
That's awesome.
Hustling. This girl's been out here working her butt off since she was 15 years old. So, I mean, she
That's
knows
great.
what she's doing.
She just talking to her now, she seems really level-headed, almost too level-headed for her own good. And does she get that from you, where she seems always very good about, even in craziest situations, and being on The Bachelor, there's not many more situations that are crazy. of trying to put herself in the other person's shoes. I don't see that a lot in people these days, especially younger people. Did she get that from you or your mom or your wife? Sorry.
I would say probably a little of both. Maybe a little bit more so on my wife's side, maybe.
Oh.
I think she gets it from both of us. Her mom and I are both very level-headed. We try not to get too excited one way or the other. I mean, you live on the world. I mean, I'm 53, so I've seen a lot of stuff by now. I don't get too whacked out about one thing or another.
Well, that's great, man. All right, well, we'll let you go, Rick. I really appreciate you taking the time. Great job raising Hanna Ann, and keep saving the trees and be safe out there.
All right, thank you.
All right, buddy.
Bye.
That was awesome. Perfect timing. He was
great.
So excited. He hopped on it like that.
That's great. All right, Hanna Ann, any final thoughts before we let you go?
Thank you, Nick, for having me. This has just been a lot of fun. Just being able to talk about everything, and thanks for inviting my dad.
I loved having Rick on. Well, I thought you did a great job this season. I've always been a Hanna Ann fan, and I think I hope people start appreciating just how you approach this season and your level-headedness and your ability to, again, put yourself in the other person's shoes. And that's actually a great thing, and not something where, just because someone's able to be level-headed doesn't mean they don't care, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
It might mean that they care more, to where they don't let their emotions get the best of them.
Yeah, I think sometimes that can be very easily misunderstood by people. It's I think it's a great quality. I hope you can continue to have that in your future relationships, whether it's your friendships or with your actor friend.
Okay, you were stuck on the actor, which is funny.
Is it not? Is it wrong? Am I wrong? All right. I'm just messing with you. All right, Hanna Ann, I really appreciate you coming on. It's been a lot of fun. Thanks for listening, guys, and I hope you enjoyed this podcast with Hanna Ann. It's our first one doing from my home and doing virtually. So I feel like it went pretty well, pretty seamless. We always appreciate your guys' patience as we kind of get through this together. I can't emphasize enough that stay inside, practice social distancing, listen to the experts. You protect your family and friends and people you've never met in your life, and we'll get through this all together. And we will see you next time on Monday.
Thank you, guys.